Good afternoon. That was Alexandria Newman, Barbara Byers, and Jasper Sussman. Thank you for that performance. My name is Shahrokh Yadegari. I am, actually we have a lot of Persian people. My name is Shahrokh Yadegari, and I am a faculty in the music department. I could not be happier to see all of you here and having this wonderful week with Reza. I'd like to ask Dean de la Coletta to come and share some words with us, some words of introduction. Please come.
Good afternoon. My name is Cristina Della Coletta. I'm obviously not Persian, but welcome. It's a pleasure to see all of you here. Some of you may have been with us earlier in the week when Reza did his public presentation, and I know that if you were there, you were certainly moved by the beautiful stories he told us, and if you weren't there, I think you will be moved tonight. Reza is, we have the honor of having Reza here with us as part of a distinguished professorship, and this is the Sher Azad Distinguished Professorship in Persian art, literature, culture, music, and this has been made possible by two very dear friends and colleagues who are hiding in the back, but I want to give them I want to have the opportunity to say, to express my deepest appreciation to Sia Nemad Nasser and his wife Eva, who made all of this possible. I'll be in trouble later because I know they didn't want me to do this. Sia and Eva actually established the endowment in honor of Sia's mother. Sia's mother had broken many boundaries, an innovator, a pioneer. She was one of the first women actors on stage and on film in Iran. And I couldn't imagine a better place than UC San Diego to bring, to keep alive the memory of Sher Azad as a woman of vision and innovation that makes makes event like this possible. Sia and Eva have done something quite powerful. Besides endowing this great visiting professorship, they have planted the seed and really provided the inspiration for what we hope and we know will become a growing endowment that will foster new projects, new works, and a new understanding of all that Persian culture has to offer. This is especially urgent today, with complicated political relationships, But our relationship is not complicated. We reaffirm our professional and philanthropic commitment to preserve and support as a whole, and specifically the arts as a whole, and specifically the arts and culture of Iran, which is especially threatened by silencing, by dogma, and by unnecessary boundaries. So in cultivating and bringing artists like Reza to campus, UC San Diego is fostering civic engagement that includes a public, student-centered university, and you, our partners. So if you are moved to give in support of Persian art, we certainly would be grateful to you as well. We give in so many ways. We give in time, we give in talent, we give in treasure. Your being here is already a gift to us. If you have any desire to talk to us more about this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Tracy Johnson, our Senior Director of Development, who is right here in the room with us. So for now, I think we want to enjoy the rest of the evening, and the very important reason we are here, I would like to invite, I don't know if I can do justice to your name, Sharok. I always call you Sharok, I Italianize everything, but Professor Sharokia Deghati, once again, to include Reza.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Della Colletta. Thank you for the introduction and also really guiding us and helping us to make this exhibition possible. You know, it really was my dream. I've known Reza for 30 years now, and I thought I know his work, but this week has been really transforming. And you know, I usually make something to read, but I feel like I want to talk out of my heart to tell you that how much I have changed this week. Just to think of art as an act of humanity is absolutely amazing, and you embodied it. I also want to thank Sia and Eva. You know, yeah, he's going, no. But thank you, please, really, thank you for all your generosity and kind-hearted help to make something like this happen. This is like supporting the truth. This is supporting passion on days that passion and truth are really like labels on cologne these days. And we're living on days that autocratic people are celebrated, violence have become desensitized among us, and friendship and humanity is kind of not something that we know anymore. And when we come and hear Reza talk about it, what he says is kind of easy to understand, but he makes us understand it. His images lets us walk into this concept of a dream for humanity. It's really meaningful, the name that he has. The fact that I've asked him, I said, Reza, if you were to think of a different world, do you really have hope? And he says, absolutely. At times these days it's difficult to have hope. And especially for somebody like Reza, who's seen so many difficult moments, to think of hope and to be hopeful of what can humanity bring us is absolutely precious. And the more time I have spent with him, the more I have noticed that he really embodies that hope. He believes it. He has the commitment for it. And I said passion and truth. Really, this exhibition became possible by the work of many people, and I just want to thank all the staff at Dean Della Colletta's office, including Tracy Johnson, Anthony King, Alma Palazzolo, and the interns who have helped Farshid. I'll get to you, Farshid. Farshid is the one who has put so much of his passion into this work. The interns at the PAT group, really thank you for all the work that you have done. And I said passion and truth. Reza's effect on us arrived before he arrived, and I could see it in Farshid. Farshid himself is a photographer, and he's the program director that he has worked at UAG. He's done a phenomenal job. He has worked a lot on making sure everything looks as good as Reza thought, and But I must say that passion is not enough. Martin Colada said that we need your help. I know that Farshid tried to show his passion to the people who printed this, but they wanted money. So it just goes so far. So we would be really grateful for you if you have ideas about projects that you want to do. Projects like, bringing Reza is very, very special because we don't think of it, we've seen all his photographs. We know his stories. But to have him here and to have this moment with him, as I said, has been truly transforming. And, I could go over his biography. It's going to take us another half an hour. He's traveled to 100 countries. He has made about 1.5 million photographs right now. He's authored 30 books. He's a National Geographic Explorer. That's a really high, that's like with scientists, that's like being a fellow. He's been recognized by the World Academy of Photography. He has many honorary degrees. France has considered him a chevalier. And we all have seen his pictures. Again, in my talk, I said these are the facts about him. The truth about him is the work he does with children, the work that he does in places that war-stricken and the conflict areas, such as in Syria, in Turkey, in Iraq. He goes and he teaches children. Maybe he will talk. He talks about the future that illiteracy is if people don't know photography. And when he talks about the fact that children with just one image could say what they feel, it's just absolutely amazing to think that he has these many people working for him, and they're all children, and I know they all love him as he has worked with children. He worked with the Pro School in this week. When I say it's been transforming, I know it's not just for me, it's been for many people who have met him. And Reza, I wanted to thank you for coming here, but I also want to thank you for all the work you're doing with the true commitment and the true passion, despite the many difficulties. As Reza says, you look at these pictures, there's been one person behind all these photographs, and just imagine how difficult it's been. I asked Reza, I says, how does your wife feel every time you leave? It's a tough answer. He says, my children at times that say, if you don't mind me say this, they say, every time you leave, they say, well, we may not see him again. And that's the price he pays. So thank you for being here. Please help me to join me to invite Reza to stage.
Well, I can't just say one word. I can just say one word. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody from Sia and Ewa, from Madam Dean, Shahrukh, Farshid, and Mariam, and everybody else that was doing it for almost years. These things happen for us. But the privilege which I had to be here, not only having exhibition and conferences, but giving me opportunity to talking to the students. I spend a week here a lot meeting students, having workshop with them, talking to them. And this is what I believe that is the main engine of everything we do, because if we don't educate our children, then everything is gone. That's, if we had only one thing to do, is educating and really putting everything to our children. I don't know in which country I read or I heard that was telling that there is only one possible way to measure if a community of a society is civilized. And you may be very astonished. What is this measure, is it? The measure which is, look how much a community, a country put on the education of their children. This is the only way that you can measure, this is the way which I believe on it. This is where I believe that looking to it, sometimes I find that some of the very, very old tribes in Africa, that they are much more civilized than many of us, because they put much more emphasis on education of their children than we do. That's the reason that I have been going around photographing, because I do believe that photography is the major art of 21st centuries. This is an art that connects all of us. This is an art that could talk to everybody in the world, more than any other art. Each art has his own way to be, has his own place to have. But now, this is the photography. It's the image that has become the main vector of the civilization, of our thought, of our knowledge. One of the very emotional moments for me here was a few days ago, when I have 30 young people from Preuss School here. You know, they are, I believe that what you do with having those students here, it's very important. They are very young kids. I don't even know, maybe 17, 16, 15 years old, and university helping them. I asked them to sit here. Farshid, whom Shahrukh told you, he's a genius. I really believe that he's a wonderful person. He has done a beautiful things with the techniques happen everywhere, you know. If it's not happened, I always say something was wrong. Why everything went well? And the students, when they sit here, I ask them, take 5 minutes, silence, and go through those portraits here. Look to them, all of them. And then I ask them, give me one word only that comes to your mind when you see all those things. You know what was the first word they said? It was dignity. I was so emotional. Then comes beauty, then comes humanity, then comes diversity, then comes recognition. And these are the kids. These are the kids that looking to the whole world, the faces that's looking to us. And this is what I wanted to create. You know, when I'm looking to you, it's like, it's a face-to-face that I wanted to create, because each person has a story. Each person, I know their stories. I know how humanity is important. And that's thanks to them, the resilience that they have. Because many of them I have photographed in a very, very difficult situation, in war zones, in refugee camps. Many of them are refugees. But the resilience that they have, that's what gives me the hope for humanity. I do believe that we are progressing. Don't think of what's happening now in the history, war in this place, war in other places. The humanity is progressing. And that's only, it's up to us, each of us, what and how we can do to progress this. I remember when I was a kid in Iran, and our school books in my time, it was starting already by giving us the text of the big poet, big writers. That's how we started learning, actually. We start learning alphabet, the language, by going through the text of the best writer, of the best poet. And in those ages, those stories, it's always remain on you, and you became who you are. One of them that I really remember, and it very touched me, and probably it's the one that bring me to continue to do what I'm doing, was the following. The story was saying that one day in a village, a very, very old man, barely was able to walk. He was planting a walnut tree. 3 young persons of the village that they thought that they knew about the farming, they were passing around. And one of them say, "Hey, old man, why you give such a pain to plant a walnut tree? You know that you need 25 years before this walnut tree give the fruit. You will not be there." He looks to them. He said, "My son, all the walnuts that I eat in my life, the trees were planted with the people before me. So I have to plant for the next generation." That's exactly the story of what the CIA is doing here. This is a story what the Shah Rukh doing here. This is a story of what you, Madam Dean, doing here, and everybody else here in the university. And that's a story why I'm still in my age going under the bombs and difficult places, running, hidings, because I do believe that we can make a change in this city. And it's up to us, it's up to each of us that how make this change happen. And art is a solution. You see, this moment that we have created here, thanks to university, I'm sure that somehow will remain and will make everybody think about it, how I can be a change maker. We can all be a change maker. And that's what humbly I'm doing it in refugee camps. In refugee camps now, all around the world, one of the main problems is education of the children. They do have tents, they do have doctors, they do have food, but what is missing is education of their children. So my thought was, well, what is good only giving them physical, comfort? If they see that their children, they are growing without being educated. And what will be happen to those kids with no education later? When they became 30 years old, 40 years old, without education, what is going to be our words after? That's how, on my way, on my possibilities, I started this project in the refugee camps, trainings, camp reporters, kids that became the real reporters of their own stories, changing the victims to become active. This is the way which becoming from victim an activist or an active person, that taking your destiny in your hand. Then education will be continuously bringing the hope to the humanity. Well, I can't say more how I'm honored being here. Thanks to you, thanks to Sia and Eva to brought us here. You very nicely said about what was important about women's role in our history. One of my way of the participating in my way to the future of humanity is training women to become journalists, writer, photographer, videographer in the war zone. In Afghanistan, I have trained almost in my center more than 1,000 Afghans, mainly women. Imagine in a country like Afghanistan. The women now, they are filmmakers. The women that they have their own radio station. The women that they are having their own newspapers and magazine. That's how you bring democracy. That's how you make a community, a country progress. actually. I have seen too much of the wars. I have seen too much of the conflicts. And this is, unfortunately, a matter of the men between us. That's why more we help women to become in the hand on the education, their hands on the communication, their hand on the culture, our future will be better. Because they are mothers. They give life. They don't make war. It's as simple as this, is it? You know? So thank you everybody being here, and I really appreciate your time, and I hope that we could continue conversation. Thank you everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.